Have you ever seriously considered starting your own YouTube channel, but for some reason or the other, you haven't been able to pull the trigger? My name is Bailey. I'm a brand new YouTuber. I've been on this platform for a little over 3 weeks, and I think you should click into this video. Well, first things first, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I would love if you would subscribe if you haven't done that already. I make videos about interior design, DIY, and art. This video is for you if you've ever really seriously considered starting your own YouTube channel for one reason or the other at some point, but you haven't just been able to make that move yet. As a very brand new YouTuber, I just wanted to share my experience and my thoughts with you and maybe be a little vulnerable as well. I really hope that you find this video helpful and that you listen all the way through because I am genuinely looking to share my honest thoughts and experience with you. Where do we start? To give you guys a little bit of a backstory into kind of my digital content creation experience, I started creating content and being kind of a public profile on social media a little over 3 years ago, or maybe just around 3 years ago now. And I've always wanted to have my own YouTube channel, but the idea of it was always very daunting to me. It was always very overwhelming. I always thought to myself, how am I even going to be able to do that? You see, prior to me deciding to become a content creator or having even a public Instagram page, I was the kind of person who you can honestly say soft at social media. before before I decided to start my own public Instagram profile as the Zen Doc, I honestly on my private page posted on Instagram maybe 4 times a year. I was one of those people who would post on birthdays and maybe just a handful of times a year. And so the idea of going from someone who posted on social media maybe 3, 4, or 5 times a year to taking on content creation and being consistent and being able to interact with people on social media was a little well, was more than a little daunting for me. But in my head, I just had this whole idea that, okay, let's start from Instagram. And if you're able to grow a following on Instagram, you're just going to naturally progress that and, build up on your social profile up until YouTube level. Boy, I can tell you right now, it seems like a good strategy, but it really wasn't the best strategy, at least not for me, at least in the way that my experience has been. I just always had this whole idea that I needed to start small, and by small, Instagram was my idea of start small and then build up to YouTube, which sounds lovely in an ideal world where you can control all of your outcomes, but that's just not my experience. And what proceeded to happen was I started my Instagram page and would, over the course of 3 years, build a small following on there. I went from, finding my voice to when reels became a thing. At first, I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm going to make videos. This is so overwhelming. I'm not sure if I want to do this. To, okay, this is what everyone is doing now, and this is how everyone is supposed to grow. Okay, I'm just going to give it a try. To just trying my best to be more consistent on the platform. And so I will say, as a content creator, I've been a lot more consistent in showing up as a creator, especially in the past 1 year, because I really did want to prioritize my growth. I wanted to prioritize building a brand. And going from that, I would say I went from then starting my Instagram to dipping my feet in the TikTok waters, starting a small TikTok page. And honestly, I will tell you this right now. If you went on my social media and you saw my following, you will not be impressed at all. 3 years of work on my primary platform being Instagram, and I barely am scratching the surface of 1,000 followers, which, if you look at it from a metric standpoint, is hugely disappointing, and also very disappointing when you think about all of the work, the effort, and the time that I have put into making hundreds of reels at this point. But you know what? That was my journey. That is my journey. And it has taught me a lot and has brought me here to this moment where I'm actually chatting with you and telling you my experience. And so, getting to the point of why I chose to make this video today is just a feeling that has been sitting on my chest ever since I started my YouTube page. And because I know that there's so many people out there like me who have this idea of, we're just going to wait until things line up perfectly before pulling the trigger. And I'm just here to tell you, stop. Don't do it. Stop being the enemy of your progress. I'm an overthinker. I'm someone who will marinate ideas in my head to the point where I sometimes will even have decision paralysis and I'm not able to make a move because I've just built up so much tension in my own head thinking about, oh, this is why, this is how, trying to, in my head, I'm thinking two steps ahead, but in reality is holding on to this idea of things have to look a certain way, things have to happen a certain way, things have to be perfect, or things have to happen in a way that I want to be able to control so that I can manage the outcome. And it's just not life. Life is not perfect, life is not linear. And after 3 years of really struggling to build a following on Instagram, I really have come to the conclusion that I should have started this sooner. I should have done this a lot sooner. And that's why I'm making this video so that you are not like me. So you can start as well. So, I'm gonna share a few reasons about why it took me so long to start my YouTube channel. And maybe some of you can relate to that. And hopefully by the end of this video, you see why all of those ideas might seem great in thought, but in practicality might really just be holding you back. I've always said to myself, Instagram is a smaller platform. If you can do that, then maybe you can do YouTube. But who's to say that? What if Instagram is just not for you? I mean, any content creator who's on Instagram and has been creating content for Instagram, it's no longer news to you that the algorithm on Instagram is just broken. Period. It's broken. I am so sick and tired of going on Instagram and finding all of this coaches who are constantly coming up with these ideas like, oh my God, this is why your content sucks. This is why no one is watching your videos because you're not making jump cuts every 5 seconds. And it's just, after a while, you're just like, stop. Stop. In my experience, yes, don't get me wrong. You should definitely do your best to see what's working, do your research to see what kind of content your audience will vibe with and what kind of content they love and enjoy. But this whole idea, this whole culture of attention deficit disorder that we've all just accepted as a collective norm is not normal. It's not. And I'm a little frustrated, if you can't tell. I'm a little frustrated about it. This whole idea that as a creator, you need to be this amazing videographer and video editor who's constantly making jump cuts and making all this hooks and all the zooms and all these things that are supposed to keep people entertained. And it's just sometimes can be really frustrating. Don't get me wrong, if you're able to nail that, good for you. Amazing. I've tried my best and I'm not going to say I haven't built up on my skills or learned how to do some of these things. I mean, you should. These are all things that work for a reason. But the constant emphasis on that might be a little frustrating. Anyway, this is not meant to be an Instagram rant. That is not the point of this video. And what I will say is more recently, I have just come to the realization that the Instagram algorithm just isn't for me. In my very humble opinion, Instagram has gone off track, way off track, and they honestly do not know how to rein that in. and creators are suffering for that. I mean, the algorithm isn't fair to a lot of people. Every time I go on there, or every time I open up a Threads link, it's always some negative comment or experiences by creators about why their engagement has been low, why their reach has been low. I'm a content creator myself, and one thing that I can tell you that I've noticed, even my followers, my small following that I built organically, they're not seeing my content. And so, with that in mind, I just said to myself, I think it's time for me to begin to diversify and do the thing that I always wanted to do, but never really made the move to do, which is starting my YouTube channel. In addition to just thinking that I needed to grow my Instagram and TikTok following before ever dipping my toes in the YouTube waters, is I always said to myself, just finding excuses. I'm a slow speaker. I'm the kind of person who, if you're being nice, you can say I'm a thoughtful speaker. When I speak, I am actively thinking about what I'm saying, and it does translate into me taking pauses in between my speech. And I'll think to myself, no one is going to want to watch my videos if I'm a slow speaker. But then again, I'm someone who automatically watches all of my YouTube videos on a 1.5 speed. And if I think the speaker is someone who just speaks really slowly, then I'll up it to 1.75 or two times. And that's okay. I actually realized that it was an excuse. Not everyone who's in YouTube is a fast speaker. Not everyone who's in YouTube is going to be able to collect their thoughts, every second by the second in a way that comes out super polished and thoughtful. And you just all have to start from somewhere. Practice makes perfect. And so for me, that was another excuse that I realized just wasn't valid anymore. What was the other thing? I would always say to myself, I don't have a camera. I feel like you need to have all of this equipment to start YouTube. And I'm here to tell you that's a big no. It's just a thought or something that we've all just said to ourselves for so long. And what do we know now? It couldn't be further from the truth. Every single video I've ever shot has been done on my iPhone. I do not even have two phones. I have just one camera, and everything that I shoot is done from those lenses. It's done from my phone camera, really. You do not need a camera to start your own YouTube. All I have is my iPhone and a tripod, and here we are. And so after much thought, I just realized that I've been the one holding myself back with all of these bogus thoughts and ideas of what I needed to do or where I felt I needed to be before starting this YouTube channel. And here's why I'm making this video today. After posting my very first YouTube video, there was just this overwhelming sense of, you should have done this sooner. Why did you wait until this moment? It's almost like regret in some sense, but we're not going to dwell on regrets. At the end of the day, I believe that everything is happening in the way that it's supposed to. I was supposed to learn this lesson, and this lesson will serve me well in the future. And again, I'm sharing with you in the hopes that you learn from my lesson. You see, the simple truth about YouTube is it has a much more sophisticated algorithm than really any other platform out there. YouTube has been around for very long and will continue to be around for very long. And it just has a much fairer algorithm to your content. And the fact that there is an option to monetize your content in a way that it's just a well-oiled machine could not be better incentive. And I started this channel a little over 3 weeks ago, and I have no clue how long it would take me to monetize or build enough following or even get my views or whatever it is, the metrics I need to reach to get to that point. I am far from monetization, but I couldn't be happier that I started this journey because I just, I The moment I posted my very first video and I started to put my work in all my other videos on YouTube, I've just been hit with this overwhelming sense of you've been holding your own self back. You've been holding yourself back so much. I'm not dwelling on regret, but I can't help but think, what if I started my YouTube page 3 years ago, same time I started my Instagram? Where would I be today? Think about that for a second. And while I can't necessarily predict where I would be, I know that the beautiful thing about YouTube is it does compound, right? Um, Videos from 5 months ago can still give you views and earn you money today. Videos from a year ago, 2 years ago can still earn you money today. So imagine if I had put my content and put myself out there a lot sooner. And because of that feeling that I have, that I've just been sitting on my chest, I just wanted to make this video and just be really vulnerable and honest with you guys, so that if anyone else out there for some reason or the other has just been in their own heads and their own minds and their own thoughts about the reasons why they want to but they feel like they're not ready yet, I'm here to tell you, you probably will never feel ready. Life doesn't work that way. There never really is a perfect moment for you to do anything. And you never will achieve if you don't act. And so, with that realization in mind, I am so happy to be here today making this content, starting this journey. And I can only be hopeful and excited for what the future brings. Right now, we're coming up on the end of the year, and so for me, a lot of where I'm at mentally right now is I'm very glad I started this page. I'm really happy that I pulled the trigger and did something that really scared the shit out of me. And I am really excited for what next year brings. 3 weeks, or shall I say a little over 3 weeks into this channel as a new YouTuber. Honestly, I can sit here and tell you that making that move is honestly starting to change my life, and not in the way that you guys necessarily think. Obviously, I don't know when I'll get monetized. I don't know what my growth trajectory will be like, but one, in the sense of just being able to actually do things scared, which is my new motto for life. Do things scared. You may never feel that feeling of peace or or calm before doing something, but as an adult, I'm learning that I kind of just have to act and stop overthinking and stop living in my head. As a brand new YouTuber, I've already started to see a difference in my perspective and my approach to life and to doing things. Honestly, it's part of why I'm here, and I can honestly tell you that YouTube has taught me better skills as a digital creator. I now know more about SEO than I ever did, which honestly will bleed into my other social media pages. It will bleed into my Instagram, it will bleed into my TikTok. I know things about doing SEO work, that even just the little things like the tags, keywords that I never paid attention to in the past when making content. Now I know how valuable these things are, and I can assure you it will bleed into my other social media pages. In addition to that, there is this feeling of the very first time you pick up that camera and you're talking to your phone or your camera with a blank wall, pretending like you have an audience. Yes, it is very uncomfortable. It is weird. It is a weird feeling. I post a lot of bloopers at the end of my videos just to be transparent about what that looks like for me, because the truth is it's not always easy to sit in front of a camera, but it does get better. It does get better. And what has happened is my confidence in front of a camera has grown so much in just the past 3 weeks. It's insane to me. Even on my Instagram pages, where in the past I would make videos where I wasn't showing my face and just like, I make art content sometimes, and I'm videoing my process and I'm just showing my hands. And now these days I'm just like, what's up? Let's talk to the people. Let's hop in front of the camera. Let me say hello. And so just Starting YouTube has grown my confidence in front of the camera in ways that can only be beneficial to my growth and success in the long term. The other thing that I really appreciate when it comes to starting this journey is just that I believe I mentioned this earlier. YouTube does have a much more sophisticated algorithm, and understanding that whatever content I put on here has a much longer shelf life than it can on Instagram or TikTok is amazing to me. Usually, with my experience on Instagram, when you post a reel, when you post something, you have about 24 to 48 hours to succeed. Or you could just forget about that video getting any views or traction. And it's not the same with YouTube. I have shorts that I posted a few days ago that are randomly just getting reach and engagement today. And that to me is just a much fairer value for the work that you do in terms of putting out content on YouTube. You get a much fairer shake for your effort. And so why wouldn't you put yourself on a platform that does that for you? There's so many reasons. I mean, I can go on and on and on about why I think you should honestly just stop doubting yourself, stop overthinking, stop living in your head, and start doing. If you're anything like me, you're uncomfortable in front of a camera, you doubt yourself a lot, you think imposter syndrome is a big part of your perspective, I will tell you that just start because it only gets better. And no other platform has given me the mental motivation, excitement, and even just the skills and knowledge that I have gained from YouTube in about 3 weeks. Another thing that has really helped me was just accepting that my very first video on YouTube was going to be a flop. And I'm not saying that you necessarily have to take on that approach, but it was really helpful for me to, in some ways, accept failure and be okay with it, because then I can only get better from there. And so my very first intro video for my YouTube page was something where I honestly was just me getting out of my head and saying, cool, no one is going to see this video. It's not going to reach anyone. It's not going to get likes. No one is going to want to watch it. But for myself, I am achieving something that's huge in the sense of I am taking a big step forward in a path, in a direction that I want to go, and I can then focus on getting better from there. I'm not saying that you necessarily have to adopt the approach of being okay with failure in your first video. I'm saying it helps a lot to just say, cool, this one is not going to do great, but I can only build upon and get better from here. And so a lot of my focus now is if I can get 1% better every single time, then honestly, that is a much better goal than sitting in my head and ideating all of the ways that I think I could be better without actually making a move. Like James Clear says in his book, Atomic Habits, if you can focus on 1% improvement, it's all about the compound growth. And that compound growth is a lot better than, I assure you, it's a lot better than not doing anything. If you're the kind of person who is worried or who feels like it would be cringy for your friends and family to know that you're starting this journey, then maybe don't tell them about it. Let the strangers on the internet be the ones you interact with. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not necessarily endorsing that, because I think that your friends and family probably want to support you in whatever you do. But if it makes you uncomfortable, if that's one of the reasons why you haven't done this, don't tell anyone about it. Pick up your camera, record, let the strangers find out first. And when you feel that level of comfort with telling the people that are close to you about it, then do that. All I'm saying is, whatever your reasons are, if you really sit back and think about it, they're probably just fears as opposed to real logical reasons why you shouldn't do something that you want to do. And so let's all do things scared. Let's get out of our comfort zone, because what do we know? It's the fact that really nothing great comes out of your comfort zone. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable to be great. And I promise you the discomfort does get better. I am a lot more confident sitting here and talking to you today than I was a video or 2 videos ago, than I was in my last video. It's still awkward for me, and I'm being completely vulnerable, even when vulnerability isn't something that I feel like I do very well with. But again, it's all in the name of growth. In this growth, I promise you, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to be able to say, I did that, even though I was really scared, even though I was uncomfortable, even though I was overwhelmed. I'm turning 30 in less than 2 months. And this is something that I honestly know that regardless of what my metrics looks like, when I do hit that age, I am going to be able to sit back and be comforted in the fact that I actually did something. To be clear, the point of this video is not to minimize your feelings or to invalidate your fears. These are all legitimate thoughts and feelings that you have, but my point is they're fears and you can absolutely push past them. You can push through. I am still scared every single day, and like I mentioned, my motto is do things scared. I don't know where this journey is going to take me, but I'm very excited to see where it will. And so I don't want you to walk away from this video feeling like, oh, like she's just saying, I'm in my head a lot. And all of these fears I have are valid. They're absolutely valid. Fear is a response, right? There is a reason why you feel that way, but do not let it cripple you. Do not let it stop you. Because I assure you, if you're able to push past your fear, it will be worth it. Even if it's not in the ways that you expect it to be, even if it's just a sense of accomplishment, sometimes the sense of accomplishment is all you need to move on to a bigger, better, brighter idea. And so I just would hate for anyone to continue to sit and not put themselves out there because they're worried or they're scared or they're afraid. You can do things scared. You can do hard things, I promise you. I hope if you learned anything from me today is to get out of your comfort zone and do the things that you want to do before the year runs out. At least that way you can then strategically look to 2024 and plan plan to grow in whatever way that looks like for you. Guys, I'm going to stop here because if not, I'm just going to keep saying the same thing over and over. The whole point is if you really want to do this, then start doing it. And I promise you, you will learn from it. You can only get better. Like you're not going to start and then just keep getting worse every day. You can only get better. And if you understand the point of that, then I really do hope that, after hearing me speak from my heart, I hope that no one finds this to be tough motivation or tough love, because honestly, this is just me sitting in front of a camera, completely unscripted, sharing my genuine, honest thoughts with you. I hope that at least one person out there finds this video to be helpful. And if that happens, I don't even need to know about it. If someone can genuinely take from my experience, my feelings and thoughts, and it's motivating enough for them to start doing what they want and creating the life that they want to create for themselves, then honestly, goal accomplished, mission accomplished. I hope you guys love this video today. It's a very different kind of video from what I planned on making. So I hope that this is something that you are receptive of. Let me know your comments and let me know your let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to hear from you what other people have been experiencing. If you're a new YouTuber, I would love for you to share what your journey has been like. If you're someone who's been a YouTuber for much longer, I would also love to hear kind of your experience, your thoughts, and any advice that you have for me and everyone else out there. This is one of those videos where I am just being vulnerable, and I'm hoping that you're able to relate to it and connect with me. So yeah, I hope that you find this video helpful. I hope that you genuinely share your thoughts in the comment section, and feel free to share if there are any additional positives that you've experienced since joining YouTube. If there's anything else that I have not mentioned, obviously I didn't script this video. I was just talking from my heart. So I definitely want to hear more about what other people are experiencing. So please do not be shy. Say hello in the comment section. To wrap up this video, of course, I would definitely love for you to subscribe and support and join the family. So if you haven't done so already, I genuinely hope that you do. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye. So therefore, my name is Fami. I make videos. I make videos about. Chill. Let's do that again. Get yourself together. Because I just wanted to be very, or just ideated the idea. Ideated the idea. Wow, babe. Because I assure you, if you're able to push past, if you're able to push, oh my gosh. Because I assure you,